normally in our order, the devotees call her Holy Mother. So we shall discuss according to our own light, what is the nature of this holiness and what is the nature of this motherhood. Now, Holy Mother herself said that, that to spread the idea of worshipping God as mother, Sri Ramakrishna has left her behind. So that was her own statement. So we shall start with that, this mother. Normally, an ordinary mother gives birth to the child, nourishes it, nurses it, cares for it, and you see, mother pours out her love, you see, on all occasions, love and affection to the child. Now, so saying that Holy Mother was the mother of all, you see, we shall have to see, you see, how she was the mother. You see, when we think of the Holy Mother, especially I am reminded very forcefully about the sayings of Buddha, which the Southern Buddhists recite very often. That means the Metta Sutta. Now, the Metta Sutta, there is a line which says, Mata yathaniyam puttam ayusha ekaputtam manurakhe evampi sabbhabhuteshu manasam bhavaya aparimanam, which means when the mother, say, even with the risk of her life, protects the child, especially if the child is the unique child. Similarly, you should bring in that feeling, and the motherly feeling, towards all beings, and it should be, this feeling should be limitless. That is the meaning of this sutta, this shloka in the sutta. So, you see, Holy Mother's life was a perfect illustration of this sutta, Metta Sutta. She was a mother to everybody, even to birds, insects, animals, etc. You see. Now, in the beginning of the 12th chapter, there is a list, you see, there is a saying in the Bhagavad Gita, which says that the people who are worshipping the unmanifest Brahman, that means without any form, without any, you see, without any attribute, they, the Gita says, they attain to me, that means to Krishna, to God, when they are engaged sarvabhuta hite rataha. That is the Gita lines. De prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. And then again in the same chapter, say, there is a list of about 30 virtues, beginning with advashtra sarvabhutanang mitra karunaiva cha. That means there is no negative feeling towards anyone, and there is friendliness and compassion. And so with that, the list begins, Uttama Bhakta Lakshana. Now, this is, you see, you find in the Holy Mother all these things. And there is another thing with which the Gita teachings begin, in the second chapter. At the end of the second chapter, there is this characteristics of the person who is steady in wisdom. These are mentioned there. At the end of those lines, the subject of serenity is that prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyupayayate. Prasada, this serenity, mental serenity. Sarada Devi was a perfect image of serenity. So you see, her life is now coming to her question of motherhood. Now, this feeling was there, but you may say that she did not conceive any child. And one day, a lady, devotee, mentioned it to Holy Mother, and she was a little excited when she mentioned it and said that, you see, he was stirred to a solemn declaration. Since I am present in all beings, in all mothers, in a way I have conceived all beings, she said. You see, we are reminded, when I read these lines, I am reminded of this Bhaka Sutram, Bhaka Sutram Suktam in Rig Veda, where there is, you see, the Bhak is saying, Maya so annamati yo vipashyati yo praniti ya im shrinotyattam. That means it is through me, by, you see, that one eats food, one sees things, one, you see, exhibits the signs of life. You see, that means you are moving, etc. These are signs. And one hears. In fact, you see, Holy Mother had this, you see, this capacity. Sometimes she used to, though it was occasions are rare, but she used to do it certain times. I am reminded about the initiation of Gyan Maharaj, a man from Sylhet. During the initiation, this young man was saying that you are not my mother. My mother is in Sylhet. How can you be my mother? Holy Mother immediately replied, the Gyan, please look at me and see if I am your mother or not. And Gyan was startled to see that Holy Mother has transformed herself to the form of her own biological mother. So you see, so this capacity he had, you see, to transform herself, and Gyan Maharaj was, you see, startled, and he did not question again, say anything. Now the mother, you see, mother loves the child, but mother also chastises the child certain times if necessary. You remember there was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. His name was Harish. And due to this tantric practices done by Harish's wife, Harish became a little mentally imbalanced. And in that state, one day he was chasing the Holy Mother, who had just returned to her house in Kamarpukur after having visited a neighbor. Since there was no one in the house, the Holy Mother didn't know where to go, so Holy Mother ran to the barn, and this Harish was chasing the Holy Mother. So she circumambulated the barn 7 times and became exhausted. And then she says that suddenly I transformed myself. You see, I took my own form, and you see, she pushed Harish, and on her, she sat on the chest of Harish and pulled out the tongue and was slapping him, you see, till he was gasping. So this is the chastising, you see, this is a rare occasion when Holy Mother physically chastises a devotee. But her greatness was this, that even after this, Holy Mother said that Harish is a great soul. He is of the class of Ishvarakoti. That means a being who is in you say, line with Ishvara. Ishvara looks after the protection, welfare of everybody. So Ishvarakotis are such beings. And his misbehavior was due to the tantric practice, etc. So you see, there is no malice in her mind, no negative feeling, you see, no hatred towards this devotee turned culprit. So this is to be remembered, that she was a very peculiar mother. Now, again, we remember on one occasion, she was in Udbodhan then, this North Calcutta, Bagbajar area, and she was doing japa on the balcony of the first floor. And she heard a big noise. You see, a man had kicked his wife, and the wife with the baby in the arms was, you see, in the courtyard. She fell, and the man was still, you see, trying to kick her. So Holy Mother got up and shouted, you see, "Hello, you wretch, you see, would you really kill your wife? You see, what a pity," etc. She shouted. And the man looked at the Holy Mother and became, you see, very timid and left the spot. So these are the occasions when, you see, she used to, though she was very soft-spoken, she was always speaking nicely in a low voice, but these are the occasions when she could rise to the necessity of the occasion. Now, we have talked about her motherhood. Now, but she was not the ordinary mother. You see, I remember it is 53 years ago, India's last famine. And I was working in Bihar, state of India, and there was a long queue, and I was issuing the ration cards for the poor people. Now, suddenly in the queue, I saw a lady. She was almost in rags, but her face, you see, had the likeness of the face of my own biological mother. To seeing this, my brain reeled for a few seconds. And then I was composed, and the thought came to me that my biological mother is, like all human mothers, a mortal being. And I have an immortal mother also, the Holy Mother. So Holy Mother, this specialty is there that all other mothers, they are fragile, they are mortal, they are human beings, though they have, say, this wonderful feeling towards the child, but they are human beings. But Holy Mother was not so, you see. She herself said once to a devotee that last night he said Chotobo, that means she was referring to the sister-in-law, the youngest sister-in-law, who was a little insane. Said the whole night she was saying that let Sarada Devi die. You see. And but this my sister-in-law does not know that I have conquered death. You see. So you see, she knew that she was an immortal being, immortal in the sense that they are avatara. Avatara means their incarnation of God, and certain times after long periods they come to the earth. They retain their individuality. They are not born because of their karma. There is no karma for them because they have effaced their ego. When you efface your ego, there is no karma. So, see, so Holy Mother knew that she was immortal, and she is proving it even today. She is appearing, manifesting herself, you see, in front of devotees in various places of the world. And not only that, she used to say, she said to many of her initiated devotees that those who have received initiation from me or from Rakhal, that means Swami Brahmananda, will not be born again. Some of them may be born, but that also they will come with Sri Ramakrishna himself when he comes back. You see. So this is what he said, you see. And we are reminded about the sayings of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Tesham ham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Yeah. I do this salvaging of all of them from this ocean of samsara, which is full of death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. Now, so, but apart from this motherhood, we have to say that she was Holy Mother. So what kind of holiness was this? First of all, I have said that, you see, one of her characteristics was that she was extremely serene. You see. She used to live in, say, a humdrum life, ordinary, with living with mostly with the family of her brothers. Used to raise certain of her nieces who were all your um, you see parentless, and this your nieces. So she was living this life, and she was also, when especially in her village, looking after the devotees, their food, their breakfast, everything. You see, she used to look. And in those days, Kamarpukur did not even Kamarpukur, not it. It was mostly Jairambati, because in Kamarpukur she used not to receive. She lived for a short time in Kamarpukur. She had to leave Kamarpukur, and that is also an extraordinary thing. You see, there at Kamarpukur she had to face the insult and indifference of the family of Sri Ramakrishna. So finally, her mother saw it and brought her to to Jairambati. At Jairambati, especially after the passing away of Swami Vivekananda, so more and more devotees began to arrive at that small village, and that small village did not have much vegetables, much these things. For all these things, she had to say strain herself. Very early in the morning, she used to go to the different say persons for a little milk, because these Calcutta people especially, they need tea. And then for other vegetables, here and there she used to gather. Certain times, even going to a little distant village for, you say, this big market. From there, she used to bring vegetables, of course, with the help of some ladies. She used to do it. So all these things, see, she used to do. Then my point is that this Kamarpukur life, see, which was full of your difficulties. She was in utmost financial difficulty in those days. And so she had not a single good sari. All saris were torn. She had, say, Basuna Balanandi, who used to be with her, says that you see, for having a little vegetable with rice, a mother had to, you see, used to find problem, you see, in those days. But she was always serene, you see. Again, the opposite of it, neither Ramakrishna, nor Jesus, nor Buddha in their lifetimes received the kind of salutations from hundreds of persons who used to come to her, especially on big occasions, and used to worship her as a living goddess. But with all that, she was totally unattached. She was very simple. She lived very simple, you see. And so this is very, you see, she had effaced completely her ego sense. Totally, you see, Gita, many places, for example, in Gunatita Lakshana, there is Tulla Nindas, Tulla Nindatma Sangstuti. That means uh, the insult and your own praise, they're same to you. There is no change in your mind. It is Gunatita Lakshana says. Then in the 12th chapter, Uttama Bhakta Lakshana, the characteristics of the highest devotee, it is being said, Tulla Ninda Stuti Mauni, etc. Ninda and Stuti, you see, praise and insult, they're the same. So this we see in Sauda Devi in, you see, in life frequently. Not, say, a man like Swami Vivekananda prostrating before her, you see. So there is not to be a kind of, you see, a kind of vanity or elation, you see. And this is very remarkable about the Holy Mother. Now, the ordinary devotees, they do many austerities. They practice yoga. They cultivate virtues. They try to meditate, etc. You see, to raise their spiritual consciousness. And as the Mundak Upanishad says, Jukta Atmana Sarvam Eva Vishanti. That means like that, finally the great yogis, they enter into that which is all. But Holy Mother's case is not like that. You see, as we have said, that she was not a jiva, the ordinary individual, you see, coming to this world under the load of karma. She was of the class of avatara, especially, you see, when she herself perhaps did not know about it when she was young, but when Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her in 1872 during the Shoroshi Puja in the month of May, you see, she was catapulted to another stage. She herself said that during the puja, there was she was under the possession of the spirit of Mother Kali, Bhavatarini, she said. So everything is happening, but she was in another mood, she said. So that was a very, you see, since then she became, you see, the potentially the Holy Mother since then, you see. And gradually it was being manifested. Now, another thing which is, you see, Gita says, and all other scriptures also say, that the great souls, they become Samadharshi. Even-sightedness. They do not make differentiation, you see, between different, you see, people because of their status, because of their religion, because of their caste, because of their etc. nationality, all these things. The striking example is her treatment with Amzad, who was a Muslim, who was a dacoit, and how Mother used to lovingly treat him and feed him. You see, this is very remarkable, especially you may not understand this in the West, but in India in those days especially, it was a caste-ridden society where the Muslims were treated even below the your fourth caste, because they were thought to be impure because of their food, because of their many, you see, especially certain cruel things which they do. Mm. So, this eating of big animals like the cow, etc., you see, which has created this kind of sentiment. And to this Amzad, and she was a Brahmin lady, you see, our Holy Mother, she used to herself entertain this Amzad. You see, you know all this story. One day when the niece Nalini was throwing on the plate of Amzad from a distance the food, the Holy Mother said that, look here, Amzad is as much my son as Sharat is. Sharat means Swami Sardananda, the General Secretary. He said, Amzad is as much my son as Sharat is. That is a perfect samadarshitva, same-sightedness. We read in the Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Brahma Samadarshina. That Vidya Vinaya, that means a Brahmin endowed with knowledge and humility. And the cattle, the elephant, that means the animals, the dog, and the dog eater, that means the chandalas who used to burn dead bodies. They used to, their food was the flesh of dog. So the Gita says that dog and the dog eater, you see, Brahmana Samadarshina, they are all, you see, the sages, you see, there's the same-sightedness is there. So this is remarkable in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, in the life of Sarada Devi, that she manifested it, especially in a village. So many Muslims in the nearby villages, they used to come to her to have her help. You see, she used to give them vegetables, she used to give them clothes, she used to give them little food always. And to the Muslims in your Dakshineshwar even, you see, they used to, when in need, they used to come to Sarada Devi in Dakshineshwar. So this is very remarkable in her life. You see, among her devotees, there were from all strata of the society, the people were there. And also, you see, she once initiated a Christian, you see, of course, at the request of the Christian, and even a Zoroastrian. You see, this is known, and there have been, you see, a few Europeans who used to visit her in Calcutta for, you see, for their own difficulties, etc. They used to come to her, and she used to dine with the disciples of Swami Vivekananda, the Western disciples of, you see, Vivekananda. This was her really greatness, especially in those days. You must think it's an unbelievable thing. You see, even Swami Vivekananda was astonished that she dined with these Western disciples. And then we say that she was not an ordinary guru, she was an unusual guru. unusual guru. I knew two Swamis. You see, there are many other Swamis, but I knew two of them who during initiation itself had the vision of the Ishta, living vision. That means Ishta is alive immediately after. So she was so powerful, you see. And this happened to many others. You see, I have seen it in the literature, but I knew two among them. You see. So she was an unusual thing, and she used to say, even to the doubtful, your devotees, who used to say that I am not progressing, I am not, etc. She once said to a devotee, if you are asleep on a cot, and the cot during your sleep is transported to another region, you see, you are not in the same place. So even if you are unaware of what is happening to you, you see, rest assured that you are being transformed, and finally you will be saved. So he said that even God is unable to cast my children into hell. You see. So these were her saying. So she was an unusual guru. Once Ashishananda, who was the last of the monastic disciples to pass away in 1996, when this Ashishananda, Kiran Maharaj, when he approached Swami Saradananda saying that Holy Mother has initiated me but has not indicated anything, any spiritual practice. So would you please tell me something? So Saradananda replied that I have never seen an idiot like you. You see, we are all depending on her grace and you see, for liberation. And you see, you just try to, you see, do the japa of the mantra, and everything will be okay. Yeah. You will be liberated. There is no doubt about it. So this was the Holy Mother, you see, an unusual guru in that sense, that she was not only the mother, she was the mother of the world, Jagannatha, you see, in the true sense. And so even when she was in deathbed, a devotee came and said that, Mother, what are you leaving behind for us? Mother immediately asked, you see, for a pair of scissors. She herself cut a few hairs and gave it to the devotees, saying that keep this, and with this as yantra, you can have any worship of any god or goddess with it. So she was always aware of her divine status. You see. Even at deathbed it is that we are reminded of Sri Ramakrishna when he was bedridden with cancer. You see, he asked M. Mahendranath Gupta that you go to Dr. Mahendranath Sarkar and tell him that is enough that Dr. Sarkar thinks about Sri Ramakrishna, because Sri Ramakrishna is the incarnation of God. This he told to M. M says that he is sending this message through me, and he is giving this message also to me, you see, thereby. You see. He's bedridden with cancer, but still he's saying that I am the incarnation of God. You see, this is their greatness. You see. To others, you see, for example, Shivnath Shastri, Sri Ramakrishna said that in Narayan, etc., they are, you see, they are praising me so much that you say I am confused. I declare that I am the incarnation of God. You see, look here, I have cancer and I cannot do anything about it. And they say that I am incarnation of God. This is said to Shivnath Shastri. And to Vivekananda, he said that he who was Rama, he was Krishna, you see, is Ramakrishna in this body, but this is not in your Vedantic sense. That means there is a special, Vedanta does not talk about so much about Vedantic texts about avatara. Here is an avatara, incarnation of God. It is not ordinary jiva, you see, coming to this world under the load of karma. So she was this, and you see, your now Holy Mother had other things. You see, she taught. You see, she taught us this, that you should be always active. She was tremendously active till she took the bed due to disease. She was tremendously active, doing all the, you see, little things in the house, you see, from the stable to the, you see, to the, your, you know, in villages, they have to do many things with the rice. You have to pound the rice, you have to boil the rice, etc. Paddy. You have to boil the paddy and you have to, you see, take out the husk, etc. with this Indian dhanki, they call it. So with that, you see, she was doing all these things, cooking, then looking after this these children, of whom she was the adoptive mother. So, and also the devotees. So she was tremendously active, especially in her village. In the city, there used to be so many people around her. There, her role was mainly to meet and talk with the devotees in Calcutta. So this is another thing of her life which is of notice, and she could rise to the occasion always. For example, when General Secretary Swami Sardananda was a little perplexed because the Bengal governor had declared in the Darbar speech given at Dhaka that Ramakrishna mission is entertaining the people who are, say, against the government, British government. So after that, the devotees, you see, were shunning in the Morton mission centers. The subscription rate went down. So in this situation, Swami Sardananda consulted Sarda Devi what to do. And Sarda Devi replied that, you see, you should go to meet the governor, who is just a representative of the king. So explain to him that it is not like that. it is not like that. You must explain to him. So then it was done with the help of, he was accompanied by Miss MacLeod, and then the governor issued another statement saying that, oh, I did not mean actually that, etc., saying something. So she could rise to the occasion. On another occasion, when you see, in those days, it was the days when Bengal was full of your armed struggle against the British Raj. Hundreds of boys were risking their lives. Some of them used to frequent the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother never asked any one of them that you should not do this. This is very peculiar. She never, though it is also true that she never asked anyone that you begin armed struggle against the, you see. She herself said to one devotee who was engaged in such activities, she said, the question was this: when shall we become independent? Sarada Devi replied, my child, is it possible for you to do so? Your day will come when there is quarrel among themselves. And history has proved it. India became independent mainly because of the Second World War. You see. India became independent because of the Second World War. So that is another thing that she used to admire, the sacrifice these boys were doing for the country. You see, they did not look even for the safety of their lives. You see, so you see, I have seen some of them. For example, you have seen also many of the. Bharat Maharaj was one of them, who was engaged in such armed struggle against the British Raj. He was the manager of Belur Math for many, many years. So he was the child of the Holy Mother also. Now, this thing, you see, it is, and then the question of education. Herself, she was not educated. Yet she was a champion of, you see, girls' education. I knew one of the Swamis in Belur Math, Swami Dharmananda, who was asked by the Holy Mother to come to Jairambati to teach the young children English. You see. So you see, she was a great supporter of Sister Nivedita's experiment with education. She herself went there to bless Sister Nivedita. So these are the things which are very particular. Herself quite unlettered. So she could, with difficulty, she used to write simply Ma, this word below the letters, which used to be dictated by her and written by others. So so this was and another thing, like great yogis, he had this capacity of reading the mind. You see, there have been many occasions, you see, many occasions when someone is not uttering a question, but there is a doubt in the mind, and Holy Mother immediately takes up the subject and answers it. You see. So, of course, she was a great yogi, and it was normal for her to do so. You see, Swami Vivekananda used to have this power. So Holy Mother exhibited these yogic things. Now, the question is often raised that Sri Ramakrishna was frequently in Samadhi, but we do not find this in the Holy Mother. You see, there was one devotee called Kiran Chandra Datta. At his house, there was some singing, devotional singing, and Holy Mother went into a very peculiar stage of Bhava Samadhi. Then she was brought quickly to her residence in Calcutta, and Gulabma remarked that in Vrindavan long years back I saw this Bhava Samadhi of the mother, and today I have seen it. You see, normally she is not to exhibit it, but Swami Turiyananda used to say that her mind does not come below the Vishuddha chakra, which is at the level of the throat. And with being engaged with Radhu, etc., her niece, she keeps the mind down, to be able to interact with others. That means she used to be in a very great yoga state almost always. And Swami Vivekananda also said, especially in 1897 when Vivekananda went to see Sarada Devi in Calcutta, there were a few devotees. To them, he said that none of you should touch the feet of the Holy Mother, because she is so compassionate that she takes your sins and suffers herself. You see, you should prostrate before her and keep a distance from her. Don't touch her feet. You see. So this thing, that means the power, such yogic power was there in her. She is not to manifest it. You see, ordinary people would not understand it. You see, sometimes I see people used to say that Mother, such respectable devotees are coming, especially in the village. You should not dress vegetables like that, etc. You should. The mother used to smile. You see, so when certain devotees used to tell him like that. And another thing, she had tremendous faith in Sri Ramakrishna. Once, I think it was Ramgati Maharaj was telling her that dying at Kashi, at Benaras, how can it give your liberation? It is not possible. Scriptures do not say this. Mother replied that, my child, you have read scriptures, you have to turn round and round. We have heard it from Sri Ramakrishna and we take it as granted. Long after the passing away of the Holy Mother, Ramgati Maharaj himself found that it is also there in the scripture that dying at Kashi has this result, that it gives you liberation. So this, you see, is her complete faith. You see, once Arupananda was arguing with the Holy Mother, saying that you may say so, but I cannot accept it. You see, Holy Mother replied that I shall tell Sri Ramakrishna that Rajbihari is not listening to my words. He is not prepared to take my words. You see, she just replied this. And there have been many occasions, especially in Jairambati. Once there was a drought for 2-3 years, and the village elders, they came to Sarada Devi to say that what will happen, there will be famine, children will die. Sarada Devi simply replied, I shall tell Sri Ramakrishna. Next day, there was tremendous shower. And this shower, you see, because of that shower that year, there's bumper crop in that area. You see. And many people used to remember this, even that, you see, for 2-3 years there's no rain. When they appealed to Sarada Devi, it happened like that. You see. So she had these powers. You see, certain times she used to, especially in case of Chandramohan Datta, once Chandramohan Datta came running to her saying that her wife has tremendous difficulty because burning oil was spilled on her body and she's suffering. Immediately Holy Mother, you see, took a little oil and a little mantra she did on the oil and said, you give it to your wife as ointment, it will cure her. So she had these things, you see. That means this is the power of the yogi. And they say they have these different things. When they have compassion, you see, these things happen. So that is Holy Mother's, you see, greatness. Now I shall ask you to enter anything in the questions. Hello, Victor?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes. Is there any questions?
Everybody can unmute his microphone and ask a question. So please, question answering session is open for at least 10 minutes. So it looks as though for the moment nothing is coming in. So I have one question for you.
Yes.
So you were talking about Jagannatha, the mother of the world.
Yes.
And yes, mother has a very special place in everybody's heart.
Yes.
So you were also telling that Holy Mother, she has appeared to many people also outside of India.
Yes.
And I have also read a few reports about that.
Yes.
So coming back to motherhood, there is also the counterpart of fatherhood. I do not know, but I have not heard as many stories outside of India about Sri Ramakrishna appearing to people. But I think Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna, they are one. Is it just because we have more link to Holy Mother, or is it just that Holy Mother and Ramakrishna can be considered as one, whomsoever they appear to?
Yes, you see, Ramakrishna, you see, it seems that getting a vision of Ramakrishna is much more difficult. But I know that it has happened. Even, you see, there was a Swami who is no more now, who was of our age, and he was with me in Purulia also. I am talking about Shishir Maharaj, who later on became Shraddhananda Puri. He took sannyas from outside, but he was a great tapasya, I know. So he told us that during his tapasya days at Murshidabad, Ramakrishna appeared in his cottage. He was a highly austere person, you see. He gave up everything, you see, and used to do intense tapasya. So such things happen. So it seems that Sri Ramakrishna is very choosy, while the Holy Mother is, she grants vision to even persons who are not very great yogis. This difference is there, I should say. And Holy Mother Ramakrishna appeared to foreigners, but long time back. For example, Sister Devamata. You know that. Sri Ramakrishna appeared to Sister Devamata. Any other question?
You were just saying that at the end of the talk that Holy Mother was saying to the people in Kamapukur or Jayarambati that she is going to request Sri Ramakrishna
Yes.
About showering rain.
Yes, about
there was a drought.
Yes.
So do you think she was really asking Sri Ramakrishna, or she pretended to ask him and doing everything by herself?
No, she used to say, she used to pray to Ramakrishna. You see, they are people of established in truth. So whatever comes through their mouth, you see, they will do it. And of course, you see, she was so much united with Sri Ramakrishna that Sri Ramakrishna used to be prepared to, you see, grant anything asked by her. That is true.
Any other question coming from the audience? Okay, it seems to be that was the only one.
I have a question, Maharaj.
Yes.
How do we know a vision is true? Why can't it be a hallucination?
Yes, a vision, you see, that is a good question. Swami Vivekananda gave answer to this question. That means a vision, you see, if it is a real vision, it will give you a kind of force and a joy which is lingering and which transforms you. You see, an ordinary hallucination will not do it.
So that means if our character doesn't change, that means that is not a vision. That is a hallucination.
Yes. No, it does not mean that. See, your character may not change sufficiently, but if there is a real vision, then there will be transformation, and it will give you your force. Yeah, you see, it will not depress you. It will not say, oh, you get the point?
Yes, Maharaj, I understand that it will actually transform us.
Yes.
Somewhat. I mean,
yes.
It may not actually transform us completely, but we will see some kind of transformation.
Yes, some kind of transformation. The test is, you see, final test is whether your dispassion has become established. then you know that you are safe. Sri Ramakrishna said, you see, you read in the Kathamrita, Sri Ramakrishna said that he said in Bengal, Ishwar darshan hole ar toto bhoy nai. If you have a vision of God, then you do not have so much of fear. That means a little fear is still there that you must lie down because you are not established.
Understand, Maharaj. Thank you.
The example is this Jnanananda-ji, who was this Nitya-Gopal. You find in Kathamrita, Sri Ramakrishna is saying, you say, do not frequent ladies so much, even if they roll in devotion. And this Nitya Gopal actually had an affair afterwards, though fortunately because of his yogic your sadhana and this and that, he came over this. You know, this some of you may know it. This Mahanirban Math, started by Ganananda-ji, who is Nitya Gopal, whose name is there in Kathamrita.
Also Bhavanath.
Bhavanath is not, you see, Bhavanath was never a great yogi, though he was a friend of your.
But Sri Ramakrishna said he is one of the Nitya Muktas. Correct, Maharaj?
Yes, he said, but he also said that my mind, you see, is cut off from him because he came to Kashipur, and in a casual way he is, hello sir, how are you keeping? But we should be grateful to Bhavanath that because of him we have this picture which is worshipped.
So thank you very much for the talk, Swamiji. Now we can go to our next program, which will be a guided meditation.
Yeah.
Will take about 20 minutes, as you were indicating earlier.
Yes.
So we shall now mute our microphones again.
I shall require your help a little in this. So, Victor, you are listening to me?
I'm listening to you, Swamiji.
Yes. We shall, you see, we shall do this thing since we have talked about the Holy Mother. It will be on Holy Mother, the meditation. So first of all, Shoroshi Puja. Shoroshi means literally it means a 16-year-old lady. But she was 18 years old, and it was this month of May, 23rd May 1872. I think it was 23rd May. Anyhow, it was this, they call it Faloharini Kalika Puja. Now, you should imagine that on a your wooden seat, the mother is seated, seated, and Sri Ramakrishna with all the items of the puja in front of her, doing the puja himself to Sarada Devi as the Divine Mother. You see. So this thing you imagine as best as you can with all the sceneries of the lamp and the incense and the fruits and the flowers, etc., the garland, and the puja vessels, and Sri Ramakrishna himself doing the puja with the bells, etc., in a regular, formal manner. Now let us visualize it. So now the second one is Nilam Prabhu's garden house you should this garden house that's in Ghat. You know what is a Ghat? Ghat is a kind of stairs, leading from the embankment, say slope down to the river. So it was a moonlit night of, that means the full moon. And the year was 1893. Holy Mother was seated on one of the steps of the Ghat in that garden house. And when suddenly she saw that Ramakrishna from behind is going down speedily down the Ghat, and he merged into the Ganges, and there immediately the figure of Swami Vivekananda rose, and there was on the bank a great crowd, and Jai Sri Ramakrishna, Jai Sri Ramakrishna, with this water he was sprinkling on this. You see, this was the vision. So it was the vision to indicate that Swami Vivekananda was engaged in spreading the message of Sri Ramakrishna. So this message was given to Sarada Devi. You must remember that at that time the news of his success in America had not reached India. So India came to know about Swami Vivekananda's success in November 1893. So let us think about this. The Ganges is there. Mother is seated there. It is a full moon, a night of full moon, and this is happening. So next we shall we shall skip the mother's entry into, so we shall come to Durga Puja, Belur Mott. So mother is coming by horse-drawn carriage at the gate of Belur Mott, at this ancient gate, which is now near the Saradapit showroom. There is a showroom run by Saradapit. There is this old gate. So mother, that was the principal gate in those days. So mother is arriving there, and immediately Gulab Ma was by the side. Gulab Ma comes down first and spreads her own sari on the ground, so that Holy Mother may step down, you see. And then you see all the monks and the devotees, etc., they are saluting her with flowers, and there is that. There is conch shells blowing everywhere. So, and the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, especially Baburam Maharaj, Swami Premananda, is full of joy that the mother has come. So this scenery, you just think about this thing. So now we shall do this, your Chandramohan, the humble worker of Udbodhan, was accompanying the mother and her party, who were proceeding towards the village from Calcutta. Now it is a long way. So on the way, the mother got down from the, it is a bullock cart, got down from the cart and was taking rest on the porch of a village temple. When Chandramohan approached her saying that you have given me a job, you have given me initiation, and I am happy to work, in Udbodhan, but still there is a desire of mine which is unfulfilled. Holy Mother asked, what is your desire? Chandramohan replied that people call you the mother of the universe. I do not understand it at all. The mother replied that you need not understand this. You go on doing what you are doing. But Chandramohan was importunating the mother, saying that no, please, you show me your real divine nature. Then mother agreed, and she asked the others of the party to go away from this place, saying that she has something to tell privately to Chandramohan. And then mother suddenly transformed herself into a goddess who is it is seated on a lion. It is Jagadhat, it is called. And she was in dazzling light was emanating from her. And there were two attendants, divine attendants, lady by her side. This was the sign. And it was so much dazzling that Chandramohan shut his eyes with his hands. Then Holy Mother said that, Chandu, you wanted to see my divine form. Why do you shut your eyes? You see. And then, after a while, the thing was over. Chandramohan saw that she was the old self, the old village lady. So then the Holy Mother said that what you have seen today, you should not tell anyone, not even to your wife, till I am alive. You see. And that is the thing. So we said it is a mother used to appear in such form in dreams before many people. But this is one of the occasions. You see, I know another occasion when she did it in her room in Jairambati before the lady attendant. She appeared in this form. Okay, let us meditate upon this. I suggest that let us stop here. Just to end this thing, that you must know that when Holy Mother was passing away at Udbodhan, Chandramohan was by the side of the mother. So he ran to his home to call his wife, who was also an initiated disciple. And when they were coming on the way, he divulged this to his wife, that this happened many years ago. So this is the event.